Cars are now coming out to take their positions on the grid for the Bill Morris Memorial English Open Championship final. And there we can see, centre of the camera, the defending title holder, number 45, Craig Boyd. He's had a meeting so far of contrasts where he did not feature in the first results and then won the second. And you can see that the drivers now are coming out to take their place, parked up against the edge of the wall to be signalled to their starting position by the meeting steward, who has calculated the points that they have earned in the first two heats to award them their starting slots in this afternoon's English Open final. It looks to me that we've got 45 Craig Boyd out there on pole, taking into account his results that he has earned in Heat 1 and 2. And 232 Brett Snedden, the winner of Heat number 1. He's taking his place. Daz Owen, of course, the winner of 2 championships, the Best of Britain and the Scottish Open in recent times. He's done extremely well today, again maintaining consistency and getting 2 excellent third places in his heat. This will award him well, and as you'd expect, Brett, having won Heat 1 and taking a good place in Heat number 2, is on the pole with the man who's a very fancied candidate for this afternoon's championship event, number 8, Deadly Daz, Darren Owen, on outside of the pole. Row 2 is 911 Harry Stewart, and we can see 445 Graham Boyd making his position on the grid, along with 210 Huey Weaver. Now, Ulsterman Clive Richardson taking this to be his third and final meeting technically as a novice, and that was one of the main reasons why he wanted to compete in this afternoon's meeting, so that when it comes to Ipswich next weekend he'll be in a position as a fully qualified graded car. So 976 taking his place on the grid. Craig Boyd now, the defending champion, taking his place on the grid, going around on the far side. Tim Foxlow given the green light to make his way around. Next out, 966, Thomas Dilley, the man who's now driving the former Tim Foxlow machine and the only person competing with cross-flow power. Lee Wood, twice the national champion, having won it in 2014 at Hednesford and 2015 at Ipswich, and next weekend that man will be defending his national championship. Cara Boyd makes her way around, and John Bowring. There goes Shane Taylor, the Cheshire man. Quite pleased with the way the car performed in heat number 2, and he was having a good account of himself with the likes of Craig Boyd and Tim Foxlow in the second race of the day. It is raining but not hard, so it will be interesting to see just to what extent the cooling of the atmosphere here and the dampness of the oncoming race conditions has an effect on these drivers. But I don't think it will have required a change to full wets as far as the Avon tyres were concerned. This track is indeed very cambered, and the quality of the asphalt is such that when it does rain, there is space within the stones in the asphalt to allow the rain to settle in between, and effectively the slick tyres still race on what would be classed as an almost dry surface. So consequently, it's quite rare to see drivers make quite a quick change to wet racing conditions should the weather predictions change. So really, slicks should still be the order of the day. So we have 232, Brett Snedden, number 8, Darren Owen, 9-11, Harry Stewart, 4-4-5, Graham Boyd. You can see 210, Huey Weaver, 45, Craig Boyd, and we've got I think that's 976, Clive Richardson. You can see Tim Foxlow out there in 144, 966, Thomas Dilley, 333, Lee Wood, 9, then we have 44, Cara Boyd, 101, John Bowring, 222, Shane Taylor, and then we have 257, Andrew Willis, and number 2, Colin Chambers. So, in memory of Bill Morris, which this title is to be commemorated over, this English Open, this memorial race, and the family of Bill Morris, they're with us today, and in memory of the man who made hot rod racing possible in the UK. Having built this track from nothing in the early 1960s, made something of a defunct reservoir, and made this the fastest quarter-mile oval in the UK. So with some thought for the family and the memory of Bill Morris. A great occasion to savour. And these drivers here today racing in the great man's memory for a trophy and a title that they hold dear. So Scotland's 232 Brett Snedden, convert from stock rod racing, has upgraded 2 classics, made his debut quite successfully at Logelly back in the April, and raced to good effect on the small track, one which he's very accustomed to. I'd explained to us in the pits earlier today that although progress is being made, he feels that there is still more to be made in that former Holden machine, that Mark II that he has there in 2-tone colours. But in spite of his own reservation, drove extremely well to win the first race of the afternoon. Of course, that Darren Owen, the man who lives less than 5 minutes away from this track, has really made Hednesford Raceway his own over the years. Has won probably more classic hot rod races than any other driver over the past 10 years, and will clearly be classed as a very close favourite for this race. Rain coming down a little bit more incessantly, but still overall not what you'd describe as a torrential, more or less just a shower that we are now experiencing. It was forecast for this afternoon. But, as the family of Bill Morris now make their way out from the raceway, and we'll be waiting for the pit gate to come together and for the all clear to be given to the start marshal from the meeting steward for this race that will be racing over 25 laps. Number of absentees in this final, unfortunately. Number 20, Dave Fry, who we can see is loaded up in the pits. And 419, Dave Murphy, unfortunately his long journey up from the deep south of England came to nothing as he's experienced mechanical problems. And of course 198 Andy Stewart has had engine failure today, which results in his surprising absence from this championship. And one situation which will come to light as a result of Andy's misfortune is that we will find ourselves a new points leader in the English National Series. And it could well be that we will find that Andy's younger nephew, that's Harry, will find himself at the top of the tree and going all out for the Silver Roof in 2016. So the engines have fired, the gate has gone together, and now waiting for the all clear.
Okay, it will be a rolling start, not a clutch start for this one.
So as expected, the meeting steward has announced to care of the commentator Dave Goddard that because of the rain now coming down that this will be a rolling start rather than a clutch. So the installation laps about to get underway, and away we go. Some of those drivers out there will find it quite slippy, but quickly bringing them up to their graded start now, their points order start I should say, and they make sure that they are back in their correct positions. Be listening on their race CVs from any correcting instructions from the steward of the meeting, Paul Gerard. So it's a full points order affair. This English Open, racing for the memory of Mr. Bill Morris, racing over 25 laps. This is a rolling lap start. 232, Brett Snedden, your pole sitter. Deadly Daz, number 8, Darren Owen alongside. Then comes Harold driving the Red Devil, 911, Harry Stewart on row 2. 210, the Music Man is Huey Weaver. Alongside him is the Cowboy, driving 445, Graham Boyd. The Irishman, it's the Digger Man, 976, Clive Richardson. From the Karting Kid, 45, Craig Boyd. And they're beginning to bring up the pace now, anticipating the throttle. And Brett Snedden trying to keep them under close graded start. And away we go. And without any hesitation, Darren Owen leads them down the home straight and into the bend for the first time. Harry Stewart quickly into second place, but here comes Darren and away he goes. Roaring that engine up the home straight for the second time of asking. Tim Foxlow on the inside of 333 Lee Wood. Lee Wood accelerates through turn number 3. Out of 4, and we have a 4 wide as we go down the home straight. The defending champion 45, Craig Boyd, will be very keen indeed on defending his trophy and charging on the inside of 911 Harry Stewart. Harry Stewart cuts him off a little bit there in his all red angly, and here comes a dive from 210, Hugh Weaver. The Music Man is indeed making music as he goes up the back straight, but under a lot of pressure from the Ulsterman 976 Clive Richardson, who in turn gets a little bit tail happy. So a battle on for second, already out on his own and gone, number 8 Darren Owen, and that's a big lead that he has in this early stage. Tim Foxlow down the order. cross-flow power machine getting the better of Clive Richardson in the Pinto. But there's a great battle for second place, with 911 Harry Stewart battling with 45 Craig Boyd and 210 Hugh Weaver. Then comes Dilly, then comes Richardson, then comes 445 Graham Boyd, 333 Lee Wood, and Brett Snedden right down the order now, in spite of his pole position start. The leader through again, having lapped some of the back markers, including 257 Andrew Willis. And now Hugh Weaver in car 210. Some changes up front, and the man with over 40 years racing experience now in that second place. Look at Thomas Dilly, challenging now for fourth, and he's made it count, having passed 911 Harry Stewart. Seems to be the one that's struggling now with this changing weather, and it could be that the slippy tarmac is having an effect on his Red Devil Anglia. And here comes Darren Owen through into picture again. He's pacing himself, shall we say. But he will now look into his mirrors and find that it's the red and gold Mark 1 of 210 Hugh Weaver who's trying to close the gap. And he's not too far away, it has to be said. And there goes 45 Craig Boyd in that third place. 966 Thomas Dilly involved and going extremely well. And Craig Boyd, he's got problems and he's slowed up quite quickly, and the defending champion is out of this one. The field now very strewn, as the weather has had an effect on the performance and the closeness of this race. Darren Owen coming to lap 222 Shane Taylor, 210 Hugh Weaver second, 966 Thomas Dilly third, 911 Harry Stewart fourth, then comes 976 Thomas Dilly. Oh, and Colin Chambers losing it there in no uncertain terms. Certainly the weather has had an effect, with just 5 laps to go, and as expected, number 8 Darren Owen, the hot favourite for the race this weekend, having proved himself in the heats, just went away in the first opening lap of this final, and he's clear from 210 Hugh Weaver, 966 Thomas Dilly and 911 Harry Stewart. 4 laps remaining on the charts. And here comes Darren through again. Very accomplished drive, well within the limits. And 2 this time for Owen. Cars very well strewn out and very slippy indeed. Taking off the edge to these race cars in this Classic Hot Rod English Open final in memory of Bill Morris, and we are on the last lap with Darren Owen moving through turns 1 and 2. Having passed 333 Lee Wood, Darren Owen is into the turn 3 and he's out of 4 for the last last time the checkered flag is aloft, and Darren Owen wins the English Open to match that of his Scottish title. And what a year Darren Owen is having on a limited number of appearances. We're looking at the fourth place man, Harry Stewart. Great drive by Thomas Dilley 966, and of course Hugh Weaver, who was in second place. But there's no doubt about the performance that Darren Owen was quite competently been able to put in that championship final. And having won 3 out of 3 races last time out at Hednesford, and having taken the championship at Logelly in April, here he is again. The local man lives in Hednesford, and he's around to take the Bill Morris Memorial English Open Championship. And a nice little donut there to finish things off for Darren. Naturally very pleased. Not one for feeling like he was the favourite today, always underplays his hand, but Darren Owen, a limited number of appearances this season, concentrating a lot on the performance of his son James in Micro F2, but when he is out and racing, he really does make it count, and that car is dialed into perfection. So well done to Darren, and he's the winner of the English Open for 2016.